go-to guy. I'm going to facilitate, as I mentioned earlier, which just means I'm going to open the door, close the door for the people who need it, get water, explain some of the rules if I need some explanation, but the judges rule today. So they have an idea, a pretty good idea of what we're doing based on an agenda, these conversations, information I've shared with them. But you don't know necessarily what they want to be doing to a great extent, so you have to adapt. This is part of your test. So do the best you can. If you have any questions, I would advise you speak up anytime you want to. And I'm sure that we'll be able to accommodate you. All right. Judges, are you ready? Very good. We'll stand up and pay respects to the dojo. And that just means we're going to bow to the people who brought us here. So this is our showman wall here. And then we'll go through the agenda. Show me. Great! And turn and face the judges, please. And you are through. Awesome.
Sensei, great.
Very good, thank you. All right, gentlemen, please have a seat. Ladies and gentlemen, find a good seat. Have a couple of time here.
Years ago, and really went through Sensei Pedro. I had just the opportunity to connect. You'll see in my essay the folks that through Sensei Bernardi how we connected with people all over the world and contributors. It's just amazing, all the way through Jim Sullivan and so forth. It's been an incredible venture. I love it. And I started as a youth, and Chris Sensei, we were talking about it, but as a youth in San Francisco, my father put me in the San Francisco Judo Institute back in, I think it was the 60s, with Sensei Mitsukumura. And George Arrington is the one who said, go back and check out a picture in 1953. And in that picture, sitting next side by side was Professor Jay and Mitsuo Kimura in a small world. You know, there was dynamics in the world of judo, and I love the history and what goes on, but it's amazing how we come forward many years later, and my sensei, connections to Jay and me through Mitsuo Kimura, how the circle comes. So I look forward to testing today with all of you. Keep my nerves down. Thank you so much. Thanks all for attending. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Igor?
I'm Igor Ackerman. I've been training with Sensei Bernardi for now 12 years, which is, compared to you folks, is peeking through the door. It's an honor and a privilege. I love karate, and here we are. So let's test.
The sooner the better. All right, so those you see the very first part of the agenda item is kata and self-defense techniques. You have a list of those kata based on their respective rank, and if you would like to, please, any of you, express which kata you'd like them to see either individually or collectively, please do so.
Will they do these together or individually?
Both senses.
Okay.
Yes. Nidan list is slightly different than the Sandan list, but any kata that you see that crosses both of those, that can be done collectively as well.
Okay. Okay, well, I won't be shy. Since both of you have to do the Nihachi Sandan, and it's an upper level kata in that Naihachi division, would it be okay to ask to see that? And then you guys can do it together? Is that all right with all the other judges?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm kind of jumping ahead, but
No. This is great, thank you.
Naihachi Sanda! Ay! Ay! Ay!
can I ask one more thing?
Absolutely.
Would you turn around and do it? so that you're not looking at the mirror?
Hi, sister. How'd you sun down? Hey!
Thank you.
Robert, if you can please do figure H.
Figure H. Figure H. Hey! Hey!
Sensei.
Behind shoulder.
Hey. Minan shoda. Hey!
Sensei Bernardi,
Yes, sir.
how much of Shadojuku are you also having your general students practice?
Say again, sir.
Shadojuku,
Shamajuku, don't know what that terms.
from Sensei Shinkai.
Oh, we have probably different set biomechanics. So we'll try to follow them as closely as we do, but not exactly the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
You see, that's just
Yes.
it's pretty broad, so.
Indeed.
Let's see, the remaining Hanchi katas, my personal favorite, so you have 3.
Okay.
I'm jealous. For all your versions, one day. But you've done Sandan, right?
Yes.
Let's do Shodan and Nidan.
Okay.
Or both of you.
Would you like them continuously or one at a time?
One at a time, and then we'll break for any questions, and then do the next one.
Hi. Hanji shoda. Hey! Hey!
Any questions, or anything anyone wants to see before we do Sandan?
One-
Or Nidan, excuse me.
I'm sorry, Sensei. So
Yeah,
one
any
more mention
questions?
that, I wanna make sure that you heard, and Bob both heard, Sensei, Miguel's, question about, Shamajuku and, our use of biomechanics. So obviously, he's very, very familiar with how the body moves. And so as you become more relaxed and more in tune with your training, you will expect to be seeing, we will expect to be seeing more of that. So settle down into your position and understand what those mechanics are for you, and demonstrate as much as you can.
License. Thank you.
If no immediate questions, we'll go ahead and do the Nahachi Nidan, and then we'll have an interesting exercise after that.
Chin done.
get our uke to work. You have 3 Nahanshis to work from. You can use techniques from any of them against the attacks that your uke will launch. You can do any of this, if he attacks you slowly, can you demonstrate?
I could demonstrate
That'd be fun.
with limited.
Okay, well, you know what's appropriate, right?
Right.
So you'll attack each of them alternating, so they each have a chance to participate. A single attack, hold your position so they have an opportunity to respond, and you have to use Nahanshi, 1 of your 3 Nahanshi katas only. That's all you've got to work with.
Right?
Understand the rules?
Yes.
At your pace, please.
Wanna go first? And Bob got hit, that's the first.
Okay.
I'm sorry. No, I'm good.
And which Nahanshi was that from?
Well, the second one was kind of modified, here, just here. And then this stuff will make a few coming in here, bang, 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 bang. This is in all 3, primarily in the Nahanshi Shoda.
Okay, great. All right, attack for Bob then.
Bob, if you could break, let me know, please.
Oh, of course, thank you.
Right? Right here? Okay. Okay. One more time, please. You need a. Okay.
Good. All right, and then for Igor, and this time just whatever attack you want to do. You decide.
Early fall. I wasn't ready. I was waiting for the throw. That wasn't elegant. Let's try again. So I was going for was trying to see if I can do a knee down. So I was swinging. Down. That was the goal, but he wasn't throwing the right punch. That's his fault.
And the way you're looking at Hanshin, do you see a lot of kind of early grappling followed by some struggling and then something happen?
So, Nefanchi is a really deep, it goes beyond kata, it's a system. And there's so much under the surface. So, there's a lot of grappling. There's actually very little punching and blocking, because we know it really is very rudimentary and is not the interpretation of kata. So, a lot of stuff is happening in close proximity. So it's never from here, although the things can come in, right? But it brings us very close to our opponent, and that's where the magic starts to happen here. So
Now,
always
from this position, you hold that position. Now, in the Hanshin, you've got a kick there.
there is a
Right.
There's another the returning wave kick.
That tends to happen a lot before the technique, doesn't it?
Yeah, and this just like this, it causes disruption of the lower body and refocusing the attacker's focus, basically shifting focus to this, and then also stabilizing the body so you can come back and do other things.
This is better. Because now you're putting together the hands and the feet. You see how this is improving?
Yeah.
In the Hanshi, there's that alternation. There's these kicks, these low kicks followed by powerful hand techniques, but it happens kind of bang, bang, bang. It's really fast, right?
Right.
the sequence. There's not a lot of fiddling around.
Not a lot of feeling wrong.
Right, so you wanna do is commit to what you're gonna do, and then use the hands and the feet together in concert, right? Boom, 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 and use the body. So you get in tight, I agree, and then you're gonna do the things with your hands and your feet that the kata has in it.
Usually,
There's a little too much tying up, fitting, moving around.
right. Usually when we come in for any kind of close combat, there's usually some kind of precaution or application that disrupts and distracts. Right? So I'm here, I look at my legs, boom. So that serves many purposes. First of all, it shifts the balance, brings his head lower.
Right.
At which point I have control and I can
But
do
then-
so many things.
Then do your technique right away.
And do a technique after that, yeah. So and that's why when we do the kata, it's almost like what we're describing is sleeping on a banana peel. There is no shifting of the weight. It happens really fast, almost at the same time, not quite at the same time, because otherwise we wouldn't generate the power. Power comes from the ground to the hips. So if it's at the same time, it wouldn't generate as much power as you do that.
Right.
But at the same time,
Faster,
it's supporting
crisper,
less, yeah.
the sequence should last much less time,
Right.
right? So let's attack them out.
Forgive me, this is,
You choose the attack.
I choose the attack.
Right. A single attack.
Okay. Forward. Four.
So a lot of foot sweeps, that's kind of a favorite technique that you draw from that kata
Yes,
to take down,
and
and using the stop.
Yep. Also from my youth in judo, Sensei Peterson Smiley.
Effective. That'll work. All right. Any questions on the Hachi in general or anything?
Okay, so, thank you, Bob. Thank you, Rick.
Bob.
Yeah.
So just stick your arm out. No, to Igor.
Okay.
Okay, so Igor, so you did a number of katas previously, right? So what points are you hitting on the kata on the arm?
For this particular kata, we do-
Wait,
Just any kata.
just kind of elaborate on what you're hitting.
So so normally, I mean, obviously looks a little karate-ish, and we know that's not realistic, right? So for training, it makes sense. But let's say it's close proximity, or I'm within range. At this point, obviously I'm already on guard, so I know something bad is going on. So when this comes in, do this one right slowly, right? So first of all, I want to angle out, right? To position myself so I can react to this and not get hit. And then at that point, there's really a variety of things I can do. First of all, there are all these areas that can be hit. So it's not just that we are getting out of the way, but this acts as first, there is some kind of a grouping of pain points that can hit here, for example. But more generally, I'm going to try to use the arm while knowing where this is. I already know where this is. Getting out of the way, sliding here, this turns into a shooter. And if he comes in, again, this is a single arm. Here, this is a strike, probably a painful strike, not a debilitating strike, right? But at this point, I know where this is. This does that, which causes disruption in balance. And at this point, I can throw him, I can do an arm bar or do other things. I'm not sure if I'm answering your question.
Bob, the same question.
Well, the first for me is get out of the way, turn, And applying the hanshi, it could be right here. And then I could continue down. It could be here, as Igor pointed out. And I could come in here. It could be here. Okay? And it could come in here, depending where the body is and the balance and where action, I could drop right here. In the hanshi. So here, here, here.
It's an interesting point that you could make. All of your applications included a takedown or a throw or a sweep, and all of Igor's were strikes, more debilitating kind of strikes. It's just an observation. But I have one question.
Yes, sir.
If you were doing strikes, like you said, underneath his arm, where's the most dangerous place to strike underneath his arm? One that could kill him.
Right, so, this is kind of going into the history of karate, the traditional karate that I read about. You know, we don't practice this stuff, but I know it is possible, and it's actually quite realistic to hit with this strike, with a toe strike under the armpit. We actually have a kata, a number of kata that demonstrate this. There are other explanations, there are other bunkai for this stuff. But if he's coming in, this, and while it looks far-fetched, we know that the Okinawan guys with these really gnarly toes can totally get in there, and there's a lot of really sensitive areas. Now, the other thing we can do is, there's actually a self-defense technique that we have. It's a reverse shudo strike. So if he comes in again, and we're simplifying this because nobody strikes, with one arm unless it's a, one-armed person. So if he does, so we can come in with a shudo strike here, reverse shudo strike. So we're striking this surface area here. It's right above elbow joint, right here. And this is the part that's really painful when you start, when you're doing these kind of things, and when you're rubbing over. So it's this, and it is this. And now, well, it's really kind of hard to get precisely. If you're lucky, this causes a really kind of zingy, unpleasant motion, temporarily incapacitating his arm. And this is his right. So if he's right-handed, better for me because he can use this stuff. So here, and then we can go into throws and everything else. So.
That's exactly what I was looking for. And it's more, I'm asking to, are you knowledgeable in, as you teach these things, to mention how dangerous some of these things are, to, not inadvertently hit somebody there with more force than necessary because it's so dangerous. So it's having that knowledge, like, yeah, it's dangerous. Be careful when you teach it, be careful when you practice it, that kind of stuff. So
Yes,
thank you.
absolutely.
I have one question. As you're engaging, I notice that both of you are defaulting to go on the inside, meaning the inside of one span, as opposed to going to the outside. Was that specific to trying to nail a particular bunkai technique extracted from kata, or at least initializing from the kata, as opposed to going to the outside?
I'll answer first. So my position on this is that, first of all, Sensei Harding's ask was a little discombobulated because all of a sudden, okay, here's the kata, do whatever you want with this, make it look good, right? So at this point, I was mostly focused on, okay, is this the move from Naifanchi? Am I doing something else, or is this Naifanchi? But the reality of it is, I believe we need to be versatile and we need to be as comfortable going to the inside as we're going from the outside. When I started karate, I couldn't understand how to go to the inside without being hit. It seemed dangerous to me, it seemed the wrong place to be. So if Bob comes in here, it's so much nicer to be here for a number of reasons. First of all, I'm on this end, I am somewhat protected from his other punch, right? But it's also expected in a way that if somebody's slightly trained or whatever, they'll go to the outside, or maybe not. But nobody really expects you to take their space. And taking space, coming in here, taking their space, disrupting their balance, getting into their face is what's completely unexpected. So to me, good implementation of the inside entry is fantastic, and you know, it's an extra weapon. But you obviously use each one depending on what's going on. So if he throws it direct, there's maybe kind of a jab, you know. I guess so. I have to get away from here, do something else. If it's around, you know, I have more. Yeah, I have more time to deal with this. Right? I can come back and maybe dive under, and so depending on the situation. But both have their purpose, and both should be practiced. Go to Shiko. Hey! That when there were fights, when people would fight with each other or challenge each other in the old days, the first thing that people would, you know, is like, hey, you want to go see the fight? And say, is it closed fist or open fist? If it was closed fist, they weren't interested because it's kind of a ruffian, you know. But if it's an open fist, it indicated a level of sophistication, because with a fist we can strike and hit, but with hand we can do so many more things. So essentially, closed fist or open fist, it depends on the kata, depends on how advanced the kata is, and also what your interpretation of the move is. And so open hands provide so much more a possibility. There's so much grappling, and so many throws, and so many hidden techniques that go beyond the basic you know, what this could be. So this is a more advanced kata, so these circular moves with open hand, they can serve as a kind of warding striking technique, probably for multiple punches, getting out of the way. And so this kata is characterized by this kind of stuff. But we also have other kata where there's open-handed techniques. Rohai is one, Chinto is another one. So, yeah, that's right now.
This is kind of off the subject, but you know the significance of this? Why that's important?
Well, I know at the why this is important to bring it back. Not well. I have my thoughts, but I don't know if that's.
Expound on what your thoughts were.
Okay, so if I'll use Bob again with his permission. Take it off. So he slowly does left, right, left. One more time, a little faster. So I didn't hit him by the way.
That's perfect.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I do. So it's 1, 2, 3 is how you can kind of proceed with the attack that throws a lot of punches. Now this is going backwards. Going forward, going backward, I don't know. That's why I said I can try to explain it.
That makes sense. I've heard different interpretations, but that's
Okay.
I like your interpretation.
So
better than ones that I heard before. So.
For me also, you know, having tremendous amount of information available, for research and video and all these great teachers that are around. There are different interpretations, and to me this, while this is not exactly Shuta, it's very Shuta-like, and to me Shuta is the most versatile technique in karate because it can go down, it can go up, it does all those things. So this kind of up and down opposing moves is what the same thing as Shuta, and Shuta can be performed in a variety of different ways. It could be this, and so multiple strikes. So one strike comes in, maybe you get out of the way in this, and then there's a second one, and there's a third one. So it doesn't necessarily have to be 2 or 3 strikes. Plus, we also know that in kata, if you analyze steps in the kata, right? Let's say there's a gidanbarai, right? So we're not sure why there's a gidanbarai. So we look maybe a few steps before and one step later to piece it together and see what's going on. So the shuta could be a preparation, series of strikes. Plus, if there is a gidanbarai, and after that there is something else, and something else maybe left and right. Why do we go left and right? Is it because we have multiple opponents? We know that's not the case, right? So it's depending on what's going on. So if this gidanbarai throws Bob here, then I don't have to go do a step through punch. I can just punch him right here and finishes there. Now if Bob rolls, then I go from A to C instead of from A to B. So kata is, it's an alphabet, and then you take techniques and piece them together to serve your needs.
Igor, could you show us just from the kata, the steps? There was one where you came forward and went backward, I think, where you did this.
Yeah, so it's this extension. That's
And you do it stepping forward.
stepping forward, yeah.
So what if we have Bob come in and just do a basic double lapel grab? Let's figure out a bump tag.
Sure.
Good one.
So let's
Just
do
do
a
the grab.
slow.
Just do it, you don't have to describe it, we'll
Okay.
see. So you're gonna
Alright.
do these underneath moves.
So he does that, right?
How
so
would that work?
That's not gonna work.
Okay, figure it out.
It's not gonna work.
There's some
So-
stepping involved.
Yeah, so in a kind of clinch, close proximity, I'm not sure. I would do a million other things here, but this particular move, right?
Oh, you
So
got
let's say it's a disruption, and then it's this, and then this, and this. So some kind of, usually up and down, it's something like that, So this could be also here. But the way that I can demonstrate this better, if he's just a little bit further away, and he's coming in with the left, here, here, and here. And over time, so. So it's but again, if he's very close, I'm gonna have to dislodge him somehow first. So there has to be something before that. Here, 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 here.
Okay.
I did not answer the question.
Well, I just wanna see if you can use this technique against the double lapel grab.
I don't know, off the top, I don't know how to do it from here.
Okay,
Because
just figure it out. So you're gonna come underneath. You go inside or outside, okay, then the other one comes up.
So it will rotate him if I do it.
And you're stepping forward in the kata, right? So don't forget those steps. That's interesting.
And that's one of the possibilities, but again, it's more of a pinyan sandan type of move, that kind of stuff. So but let's say this would be an elbow strike.
Well, that's how you figure things out, right? You grab a partner, you put your lab coat on, and you start figuring things out. You have them
And that's-
attack you with the most basic attack, like a lapel grab, and then you see if it works, right? And then, okay, this isn't going anywhere, and then you keep varying it up.
When we practice bunkai, we start with just the simple kind of at a distance, not quite like this, but not here. So he throws one, and he'll do a technique. Then we go into more complex, left, right. Then we go into a little bit of grappling. Does this work here? And then we kind of piece them together and move around into what we call a kind of a kata sparring situation. We just kind of move around, and he throws a technique. Oh, I'll repeat again. And that one. And on and on and on.
Okay, I mean, that's one way to do it. So you can take a technique and try to figure out what that technique does, and that's what I'm proposing you think about. take interesting techniques from your kata, see what you can do with the tool, right? You got a tool that was put in there, and when it repeats, like in this kata, it was in there at least 3 times. That's probably pretty important. So what can I do with that, right? The other thing you can do is present a problem, like a lapel grab, a punch, kick. How do I solve the problem using a bunkai from that kata? You kind of look at it from either angle. That's a great way to make discoveries. So think about that.
Thank you.
And for you, is that what kata would you want to do in 30 years from now? 30 years from now, when maybe your mobility is not as well as it is today, what kata would you do in 30 years from now, 20 years from now?
That I would do in 2030.
Yeah.
It's short.
But, yeah, the thing is-
On and coop. Right? It's all pretty much upper body, and this may have been the one that was a favorite of Ken Sensei. So we'll up above, he will like it. So, on and coop. Right there, over. If you're in a defensive posture. Defense, grab, kick, block, end. It's fluid, it's short.
So why is it important as you get older to do things that maybe upper body than, say, throwing?
Well, as my hips are telling me that it's harder to, go down, and I would prefer, if I have to, in a defensive posture, stop it, and then hopefully walk away. I want to sleep in my bed at night, not in a hospital bed or worse. So, yeah.
Now, you've got a couple of options here. You're a tall guy, long legs, you got a good size. If you had your choice, would you like to keep your distance and use the length of your legs, or would you rather be in close and use size and control? What's your system?
Well, for me, it depends on the situation. I would prefer to come in.
Well, you're imposing your.
If I'm opposing myself, I want to come in.
You want
because-
inside,
Mhm.
close.
I want to come in close. I mean, I'm here, and then I'm immediately going. I don't want to be way out because there's too many things that could be coming at me. These days, it could be a knife, or it could be a person ready to grab me, street fighter, whatever, throw coffee on me. It happens. So my reaction is boom, boom, and then come on in. End it. Or go to the outside, end it. Okay, walk away.
Would you like to see a polo cup, a women's cup?
Yes, I would like to see. I love the kata. Who has to do the bowl kata?
Me.
Can I see that?
Yes, yes, I can.
In about 10 minutes of a break, if we can change that plan, we will.
Shonakon! Hey!
Bob, do you have weapons kata?
I do.
Can I see yours as well?
Hi. My kata is Kuda Yogi Kambo.
Thank you. Ready for something?
Yes, it's.
After that, I have to have too much water and coffee.
Yes. It's a break time. Gentlemen, are you meeting expectations of the judges in your estimation?
That's a loaded question.
There's no easy answer, so what do you think?
Yes, I hope so.
Good. Bob?
Yes, I believe so, and it's also the opportunity to learn.
That's
a lot
why we're here.
From senpai and senseis.
And if we don't learn, we've had a bad day, so that's a very good point. This is why we have these things. You know, I can, for $5 or $5.06, was taxed, I can get my black belt. Nobody would have to know about it, but we don't learn anything. This is why we're here, to share and learn and experiences.
Can I have one too, please?
Yes, sir. That's what it's not.
Not a charade of like, though.
No, that's different.
It is
Judges, I would ask you, are you having enough time and opportunity to get what you want from this so far?
Yes.
We're going to extend the portion of kata for a little bit longer because it's so important to us. It shows us our fundamentals, it shows the spirit, the balance, the mechanics, everything that we train, everything that we are able to show through kata. And that's why it's so important. So I've asked Sensei Miguel to do a little bit more with the kata, his background in Shunru, wants to see a few things with your weapons technique as well. So again, judges, please continue. But Sensei, you're up.
Okay. So to start with, Robert, I would like for you to start with an open hand kata, right, regular kata. I would like to see one kata, please.
On cut. Okay. On gun.
Can you do the portion of one kata, if you're facing that way, after the third shidoke going to this direction?
Hey.
You end up with your right hand forward. You should, I think it's right hand forward.
That's correct. Right.
Right hand forward, so, and do shidoke, right hand forward. Right. Now you go into the next move, this part. Does that hurt your back?
It's tight, but I've always, thought it was here, here, here.
No, maybe.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh. Let me see, who's on the guide?
Sakudai. Hey! Hey!
If you go back to the portion where you do, I think it, with the chew down the kick and you follow up with 2 punches. Right, before that, there's a movement before you drop down.
Okay.
Right, after chew down the kick, punch, square. You run to the side.
Right, so it's this one, right?
Yes, yes.
That one?
You threw me off because you were
Now what are your faces?
And so that, can you describe that or explain that to me?
So, and specifically when we fall down.
When you fall down and how it relates to standing up.
Okay. So, there's this bunch. So this to me, again, I'm working through the kata right now. So I had to pick a kata to work specifically on Bukai and do a deep dive. This is not the kata, but I'm going to give it a what is it, scout's try, or whatever the expression is, right? So this punch, the softening of the target, maybe reaching and getting in, and then this, because the hands are in this position, that tells me that there is some kind of a neck or head control. So when this happens, it's a knee strike against the opponent's head with a drop. We're coming in, we'll land on the opponent, or just bring them with us to this position. And actually, I just noticed since they're doing the kata, we're preparing for the test, I did not notice this part before, and it wasn't clear. There's many wild interpretations on the internet about hiding in the rice paddies and in the Osaitai hiding from a enemy at night, and they're swinging things, and
That's
all
why
of this is
they're very
right. So interpretation is
Yeah.
a lot more pragmatic and mundane, and probably this is coming in. So, well, if I may lose Bob, took his glasses off. That's good. All right. So yeah. So again, it's let's say it's a deadly kick into the armpit or something like this. Most likely, it's some kind of you come in, you do this, right? There's maybe this or that, then it's here, here, or maybe here, here, and then it's this case is here and drop. So it's a right knee here, and Bob goes down, and then I do nasty things to Bob. And I do that. So to me, that, and especially knowing that in a kata like Shinto, there's a move we go down here, and we do this kind of a silhouette of the head, and then this hand stands here, and we do this. So it's a similar move. So with the knee in this, I have to guess it's a head, and some kind of a throw.
So, connect after the throw and you're getting up. What's happening in that portion of the video?
Right, so move back,
Yes.
and we come back
Right there.
into a shuto, and a second shuto, and then there's a turn. So this guy's dead. Then I'm getting up, and maybe it's I'm continuing to fight, and it's a different segment in the kata, because after this kind of attack, the guy shouldn't be able to get up theoretically, in the face. So, and then it's just here, 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 here. So it's a normal kind of shuto progression to me. Once we dig into kata deeper, maybe
No,
it will come.
I like to stick to the kata.
Yeah.
But I just wanted your explanation of what was the technique going down and what was unique about how you were coming up. So, you answered my question.
Okay, thanks. So I'm sure there's a lot more to it.
Good. So one more kata from each of you, and other judges here, please jump in if you wish. All right. Okay. I would like to see more Ryubukan.
Yes.
Ryubukan. I'd like to see Pasaidan.
Asai Asai
I tend to see most of your strikes or your punches in more of a relaxed hand position, even at the point of focal impact, where your hand actually makes a stop. Assuming that's where your focus is, striking. You're not going past it necessarily, because you stop. And your fist at that moment is quite loose. I was wondering why.
I don't want a tight fist, I don't want to break the hand. On impact, I didn't show it well, but it would be to go through and relax. Not, muscle it through, but body contact. Slightly tight fist, but, and drop. Just let it go, because what goes through comes back.
So where is your focal point of your, is it just any general punch if you're doing that? Where is your focus?
2-3 inches beyond where I'm striking, So if I'm hitting here, it is not just to hit here, I want to go through it. But at the point as I'm going through, I'm gonna relax. I don't know how to move my shoulder. Because I don't want it coming back through me. Yeah, I mean, it would be, and then I'm ready. I'm learning.
So that was one of the notes that I had as well, is that, at the point of impact, it would seem to me that you might injure yourself with, as relaxed as it looks. I understand your explanation of what you're doing, and it makes sense. Can you hit one of these dummies in the same way that you would in a kata? Is that okay, Susan?
As long as it's.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? You know, just turn once, and I don't care where you hit it, I would just like to see,
The side eye is also crashing through a barrier, and it's one of the katas that you'll see, there's not many strikes, it's stack knuckle and things.
well, I'm talking about the kata that I've seen you do, it's been, a consistent, sense of, not being focused at the point of impact, and even the shuto, even the shuto seem a bit, lacking in a point of, yeah, focus. Where's that gonna hit, and what kind of damage is it gonna do? So I would just like to see, if you were doing a kata, and there was something there, how would you hit it?
Okay.
Okay, now, Bob, could you, with the dummy where it is, and I don't care what kata you choose to do, but could you do some opening move so that you turned and you hit this dummy, where in the kata it would be just open air? Do you understand what I'm asking? I don't know your kata, and I don't know how you would want to line up. But if the kata opened up, that way, there would be the dummy. So normally you're doing this in the open air, and they just look a little bit lax. So maybe 2 or 3 moves, and then the next move happens to be that dummy.
Think of Fukiya the Ichi. So with Fukiya the Ichi, you go get on by and you're gonna turn, and then you tuck this away, and you're heading back in the Gyakuzuki, right? And you punch 4 times going backwards. So I think Sensei is talking about have your focus in a different direction, and then you're gonna turn and then strike.
Okay.
But in Fukiya the Ichi,
Yeah,
you're going to the sides.
So, yeah, you're here,
There.
here.
Right. Now,
That would be my reaction, so. Here, I might not go here, I might come to the spine.
when you're striking, I'm a little, there is, one of the reasons why I was asking Sensei Bernardi about, how much of the Shambajuku influence is being taught here is because I know that Sensei Bernardi's been there, it's my sensei in Okinawa, and he does teach this relaxed method where you're punching through a target, and his hands do and appear very loose. But I wasn't getting the full display of this movement as he would teach. So I was a little bit uncertain as to what what is being displayed was more of a Shabujuku style of this, or a Shoryu style of, a firm fist straight technique. So, I'm not saying one or the other is right or wrong, but I was trying to see, because you seem to have a definitive endpoint, but that definitive endpoint in Shabujuku philosophy would not be at the target. It would actually be going through. You would be throwing away your forearm, in a sense, and that's where you would have this loose. But in the shorter view method, you would have a firm fist at the point of impact. Only at the point of impact. It can be loose all the way, and right at the point of impact, it's tight. So I think that's why some of the questions were being.
Thank you, I'm learning too.
Thank you.
I think I would like to do Shonokun again, except do it lengthwise. But Shonokun has very unique dynamic movements going forward and backwards, adjusting the bow dynamically in hand, as well as the unique shuffling and shifting of your stance, moving back and forth, which is dynamic as well. So I'd like to see that, and I was surprised you did it this way. I know this is the front, this is where we're standing, so I appreciate that. But you're having to do a lot of short change stances, and I think that might have really taken away from the beauty of this kata. So.
Well, absolutely, I will do it. As I also say, competitor during the break is it's not just the space that's missing, the lacking, but it's also the skill. So I'll give it my best. And I know exactly what you're talking about, because as we were practicing this, the biggest challenge in this kata for me is changing the distancing while moving hands in a natural fashion, so that the hands are they're not fixed in place. There are things happening. I'm talking about tsuki. I'm talking about maybe an overhead strike where you have to extend and come back and come on. And that's the part that I'm struggling with. That's what I'm learning. So I will give it my best, but
Let's see the focus. This has a finish on it. It's like make it stay.
see all these obstacles there.
I knew exactly what he was feeling for.
I did
Komodo for quite a long time, so. Too much varnish.
This one is at $5.10. That's insane.
Well, you know what? 99-cent piece of sandpaper will just.
That would increase the value. At 99 cents.
Yeah.
So I will attempt it very slowly, longitudinally this way, and
Yes.
give it a try. Shonakon. Hey!
You let me know what your experience is before, so I understand. Just know that whenever you're using Kobudo, that's in the general sense, weapons, right? As an extension of your body or moving it with your body, it really emphasizes the basics of karate. And that is, whenever you're doing your kata, it should be in the sequence, keyword sequence of me ashite. So you're gonna look first, make your rotation or dynamic movement or adjustment or step, and then you execute your technique. if you're midway and you haven't looked, you can't focus. If you're midway and your foot's not down, all you have is the remaining foot on the floor where you're gonna execute the kick or punch or whatever the kicks. So you have to need a firm foundation and also a visual confirmation to register the coordinates to your heads. Okay, this is where it's at, this is how I'm turning, this is where I'm gonna turn. My knees are gonna be bent so much, my feet have even weight distribution, yes or no, is it a neck rush, is it, etc. It even gets very obvious once you're older. And so you want to be certain that your footing is well placed before you execute your technique, because the bow's gonna control you. So it's just, these are minor steps, but they're things you want to focus on before you go fast. So with my students, I say, don't worry about power, don't worry about speed. That's something that evolves and comes. It doesn't make it right if you try it now. You see what I mean? And so I think you're at that point, you're trying to go fast, here, higher stress environment, sure. But just remember, step first, have a firm foundation first before execute. So there's a couple of times you help yourself up.
Thank you very much. Joe, we can continue with kata if you like, or we can move on. What would be your preference?
I'm okay with moving on.
Great. We have. All right. So we have, as you can tell from our agenda, self-defense techniques, and I'd like to spend just a few minutes on those. We made their specific drills that were created by and passed down to me by Sensei Jim Sylvan, who I consider to be a genius in the martial arts, as I'm sure those of you who know him would agree. And they've been practicing these drills for some time, and I think maybe with some time abbreviations, they can show you with ones that they've been working on the most, and you can go from there and see what you'd like to see from that point. So gentlemen, if you would do your, as based on your criteria, your self-defense technique.
Sure.
Yeah.
You want to start?
So Bob, you are interested in doing all the self-defense techniques. I would like to suggest to the judges that as a start, they see what your best of these is.
Well, we talked about it earlier, and it's a judo flick in the back knuckle, okay? And Bob, can you come up? And this is the one you have to be careful with, but if Bob were to throw a right punch, I mean right here, immediately, just bam, bam. Okay? Simple as that. So he comes in. Okay? I wouldn't be out here, I would be right here with as fast as I could go. Okay? Another one could be judo flick, reverse foot, and then a combination block. So Bob, if you throw a left, maybe towards my chin, and then a right. Okay? Move, shoot a flick, depending where the punch is. The punch is high, could be high block. Punch is coming here, could be inside, and then down. Good got it.
Would you say this is how everyone in the dojo does these techniques?
Similar.
So,
With the combination block, the last one, it's ones that, as I progress and I do it, I'm saying, okay, well, I'm just not gonna go here, here, and then what do I do? All right, so it's an improvision. I'm looking at it, here comes the next punch, maybe right towards my face, and they come in. Okay, if I have to keep going, Kusa Kudai, which Sepa Igor was doing. One hand,
Yes.
slow,
So, I'm sorry,
left, right. And then strike. So you have to be rapid defense. And then go from there. Could be also kind of with an elbow, depending on how close you are. You're out far, punch, end it.
Okay, so you have, what is it, about 20 techniques that are part of this set?
Yes.
How have you adapted them to what you prescribed earlier? You said you like to be in close, get in tight, finish it. So how have you adjusted? Could you give us an example when you've adjusted for you changed it a little bit?
Come in with a right punch, so right here, so kind of a parry block, punch, palm heel, and just adapting, depending on the level of the punch. Again, I could be taking the arm down right here, or taking the knee.
And that's a little different than just the dojo way?
Well, I mean, the basic move for that particular defense is you're here comes the punch. So it could be parrying a punch to the ribs and then pushing. Well, gotta keep going. So here, it could be down, it could be here. All depending, you know, what you feel, where the hands are, ability, how close you are. You're in close proximity. I mean, I could be here.
Okay, so you're making this your point, how close you are. Who
Yes.
makes that decision?
Who makes the decision? If I can come in close, I will try to come in close.
Sure.
If I
So
don't have-
wouldn't you have the ability to just make all these decisions yourself?
That would be my intention, yes.
Right, so you would just do it.
Yes,
What's preventing you? So that you're coming in, same thing, do the same technique.
okay,
So go ahead and impose your will and bring in close.
yeah. I mean, I came through,
Okay. And you also could hip chat, a lot of things you could do.
Yeah.
So you said your preferred way of implementing Shorin-ryu is to be in very close, right?
if I can, yes.
Right,
That's
and
my
there's no
intention.
if. Just
Come in.
make it so.
Yeah.
Right, it's your technique, you know what you're gonna do, so you're just going to be close. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes,
So don't worry about if if the distance, what it is, no. It's, you decided, and then you did that.
it's a good point, and I agree. Thank you.
Yeah.
So same question, you would demonstrate the self-defense that you've been working on specifically for the test?
Hi, thanks, Sensei. Well,
Yes, of course.
or no, it's Larissa. She's not doing anything.
With the boots. Be careful with those ideas.
I have the weapon here.
Okay, so I'll show a couple of self-defense techniques from our curriculum in a solo mode, and then we're just going to progressively demonstrate it so far. So the first one is called beginning of the side elbow strike, and it looks like this. Variations, side, reach, follow in, elbow. So, starting with just the right, still right, still right. So what's happening here, I'm getting away from here. My left elbow protects me from anything that's happening here. I'm gonna go into floating ribs, and right where my hand is. And that brings me either here, or brings me here. But either way, I'm wound up in this position from which I can do back at the next strike, come back here, and finish it this way. So versatile technique, And if we do it slowly, left, right.
Left, right.
Right, so entry, here, here, same thing. Goes back, let's try again. Okay. That's then we should, and then maybe more realistic, we would move into more of a grappling kind of situation, right? So here, we're working with you. Another one is parry block, arm break, or knee strike, arm break. Parry block, knee, and arm break. It looks like this. Again, if it's just the right, coming here, and in, close, past the elbow, knee strike, what goes down. Down. What's this? This kind of move, get around this. And 1, 2. 1, 2. That's 2. We can do more.
Igor, how would you describe your implementation of Sherman? You seem to be a little bit more grappling mentality, is that true? Or it can be kind of grabbing and holding and manipulating.
As I mentioned before, we have this, and this is really powerful, especially if it's conditioned. And we can grasp, we can grip, we can, we can stick, we can poke, we can do all sorts of things that holding it this way just makes it hard. Now, fist is a fist and it serves a purpose, but to answer the question that was posed earlier, when we strike, at a certain level, we can be relaxed up until the point of the impact. At the point of the impact, we need to have properly constructed fist to avoid injury, and also to deliver this kind of effect that we have. So these are all different tools. Punching and blocking and kicking is not all there is in karate. It's just some of the techniques and things that are available to us. And looking beyond that into grappling, of which there's lots. To find grappling, joint manipulation, locks, various things that are ura vaza, which is the hidden vaza. So there's the concept of omote and ura. Omote is this is a low block, and we're blocking here. And I think everybody who studies karate seriously today doesn't really believe that omote even needs to be brought up as a type of bunkai, because we know that this is not a block, right? So there's omote, there's ura. Ura is back or hidden technique. There's a concept in Japanese life of omote and ura, public face versus private face, right? So ura is the hidden technique. It's what we're looking for when we decipher the kata for bunkai. And there's also the concept of honto.
I'm sorry to interrupt,
Yes.
sir. Please hold that thought.
Okay.
We're gonna take another break, well deserved.
All right, okay, sorry.
No, don't be. And if you would, let's see, Igor, would you stand up, please?
Yes, Sensei.
I would like one of our judges, doesn't matter which one it is, to have you do 50 push-ups to their satisfaction. And they have to watch you do it.
Can I do 30 push-ups to their satisfaction? Yes.
So if you're cold and you want to sit up, volunteer, please. You have to do a lot of stuff.
These are on the knuckles, right?
Of course.
And Bob, don't you have to do some exercises?
Hi.
Ask one of the judges to take you through your
That's 10.
physical conditioning.
Okay.
All right. Oh, okay. You want to warm up, right? How
That's
much?
20.
All of it? He has to do 100 squats?
Yes, to all of us right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
there you go, Bob, 100 squats.
Right.
Unless you see, he's good enough about 27 and you want to go.
Okay. Okay.
30.
Anyone who wishes to join them, please feel free. You have a lot of room.
I'll hop in and do those push-ups.
There you go.
So you should do some.
I'm
40.
Can you do the last time with the diamond? You know, the little hands in the middle?
What? Push-ups? Yeah. I'm cold. It's me.
Easy with doing pull-ups, right? I love you.
45.
So, not yet. What he does, make sure you're not standing there.
What are you guys doing?
48.
Pretty cold.
I know, push-ups, that's the way to go.
Do you have to do squats or no?
I did.
Okay.
I'm ready, let's do it.
All right, so
Should I continue?
I believe you have more to do, yes.
I will let you know.
Okay.
And do
Actually, probably want to.
You have about 3 more minutes of exercise. So pick what you need to do in 3 minutes.
Squats.
I'm watching the clock, so.
Yep.
He's doing a plank.
There you go.
We got 3 minutes left.
Wow. And look at these folks. They're getting ready for their
Nice. Good
exercise.
job, good job.
Nice.
That's it.
Very good, Vanessa. Good.
Hi, Shirley.
Good
5.
job.
Shirley.
6.
Waka.
7.
Good.
Igor, how many?
4. 5. 6. 40.
Good. Very good, sir. Igor, if you can do 10 in a row, jumping off the floor, like I saw Sensei Miguel do it when he came to train us,
Wow.
that's impressive.
Those are hard.
Do they pass the mustard or no?
It's like this. Igor, like this.
Then you jump. Right.
Where's the set?
You're like me in spring.
Yes.
Don't try to do 50 of these.
No. There you go. Excellent.
Oh my God.
That's a squat.
Wow.
Very good, Bob. How's your back? Nice. Very good, sir.
All right, I'm spent.
Very good. Very nice.
10 pull-ups.
Okay, so I think we proved that they can both do stuff with their bodies.
Yes.
Sir, pull-ups optional.
Okay.
It is optional.
Can I get a...
Do the thing where you bounce up and do the front flip. Okay, here we go. We're all gonna count, okay? Get ready. 1, knee,
3, 4,
aggressive.
Ro. Si. Hashi. Ku.
Yay, all right. All right, everything you want to complete? Beautiful. All right. Thank you, guys.
Sensei. Thank you.
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Very good. So judges, we have basic stance patterns, we have complex stance pattern, we have break falls, joint locks, we have sparring. Anything you see and anything you see, just shout it out, please.
I'd like to see, something on the joint locks. I don't know, if you, are doing some particular attack and you move it into a joint lock, or are you just demonstrating joint locks? Show me what you would demonstrate as far as joint locks.
So again, this is a karate dojo, so we try to cross-train and understanding how many locks and joint manipulation there are in karate. So, for example, this is just stationary, just kind of practicing. So, Bob's reaching out, percussion, disruption, and all of this. I do this, I step forward, back, and I roll by. And then maybe I do one of those things. So this way, the opposite is this one, this one. Right here. It's a shoulder lock. This way.
Can you show me a joint lock if he just grabs your shoulder?
Okay. Let's cross.
Can you go back to the first one you did with the grab?
Right, so just for the lock, without any disruption, obviously he's not gonna do it this way. So I put my thumb into the stereo here with the, what is this finger called? Middle finger. Right, yeah, so put it in the crook, right, and it's this way. And this can be done really with one hand, like this, using the body, or two.
Can you change your hand grab?
Change the hand grip.
Yes. These three are most important.
Okay.
But with any weapon, even katanas, these give you more precision movement.
Okay.
The index finger is not as important in this case.
So it's these.
So really you want to grab, with these fingers, grab the meat of the hand, regarding the wrist. So
Right,
you want
so
to
it's this
leverage
way.
this. But if you want to change the angle there, if your thumb and the web, your thumb and the web of their thumb,
Okay. Here.
right?
And it's this one.
Right. You don't have any airspace between your hand and his hand.
This one.
A little bit higher on his hand.
This one.
Stick your index finger out, just so you can see. Your
Index is here.
You notice it doesn't really have much of an effect.
Doesn't have much of an effect, yeah.
Right.
So it's
Okay.
the thumb and these three.
Right.
Now, Bob, stand up.
Kind of like kobudo when you have a.
Yes, in a sense, it's in essence. Now, you want to close that angle up. So you want his fingers pointing towards him more. Make it 90 degrees.
This one.
Hey, you don't have to raise it up.
Doesn't have to do this.
Work with it right in front of you. Okay, and then now crank it towards me. Yes,
And it turns it back.
yes.
Okay.
The reason I asked you, Bob, to stand up, I wanted to see, are you
Yes.
immobilized with his joint lock?
It hurts, but not like the seminar. Because he's been kind that we did 4 years ago. He's been kind to me.
So again, it's the web, here, 3 fingers, towards Bob.
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
So close this angle.
And close the angle,
Yes.
which makes him go down.
Now crank it. Yes.
Sorry, Bob? No, good. He won't invite me to his house anymore. Okay. understand. This is kind of, this fine tuning is what I'm working on, because I know the basic moves, but, for example, you know, when he goes down, so if I take him down, right? So if he's down, these are the things that I'm learning right now, is all the fancy stuff. Of course, you can kick, but the actual immobilization here on the ground is something that I need to work on, because I don't have.
The main thing is that you want your opponent to move because you're controlling him. And you want to make him move because it's a muscular struggle. It's not arm strength against arm strength. You want him to feel pain. Pain is what it is. Right? And once you induce pain, the amount of thought that goes through his mind is lost.
Right.
So
Just focus.
a person in a state of panic is 90% physical and 10% mental, so they won't be able to think about it. Right? But if they're in pain, they're trying to get themselves out of pain. They're not trying to get themselves out of this situation.
Right.
So that's where you want your opponent to be, in a state of that pain. Otherwise, you have a good arm bar or joint lock, you can move a person, but you shouldn't have to struggle your strength against his. That's where a lot of things are lost as far as jujitsu and all of that's concerned.
Yes.
It's not a muscular struggle, it should be.
Right. If it's done correctly, it has effect right away, absolutely.
Bob, could you show the same kind of joint lock? Any kind of joint locks? Or is that part of your test?
It's not part of my
Okay,
test, so.
then disregard that question.
Thank you.
And you're probably not taking rolls or break balls?
No.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes, show me some.
Yes.
again, you know, not Aikido, not Judo,
Okay, got
not
it.
not the state of art that the way you guys do it. But, so when we practice break falls, because we don't throw as much as you do, we almost never throw, although we know that there are throws in there. So it's more for, what do you do if you get pushed? What happens if you get attacked? How do you fall in a way that allows you to recover and protect yourself? So, so we practice back fall, side fall, forward fall, and some of us roll. You know. So. And the goal here is to roll forward, tuck chin, compress diaphragm to make sure that the feet are not going over, so you're not going over your head or not hitting yourself with a knee, and deflect the fall, dissipating the energy by striking roughly 45 degrees from the body at the point of the impact. After which we can come back. We'll also practice recovery drills. So if you're sitting here, something's going on, maybe the guy's coming your way, with hands here, come back and come on, and ready to fight. That's the back fall.
Can you show the same thing if Bob pushes you?
Yeah.
Push him hard.
Right.
You know, I
Thank
want
you.
I want him to lose his balance. I want, you know, what's he gonna do when he's really falling?
Yeah.
Hard.
Right.
He said hard.
Bend your knees and be in a relaxed state.
Yeah, just come in and like you push a car.
Right. Or the front, do the front. Maybe without the dramatic pause, but getting up. So,
Most of the time I've fallen, it's not because of, unaware or unexpectedly, it's not because of training. It's because I've slipped or something like that. So, you're walking along and you hit an icy part on the sidewalk, how you would fall? You're just walking. Okay.
That was bad, actually, wasn't it?
Show me your foot slipping. It slips. It slips.
This way?
It slips.
Oh, like that?
Yeah. That's how you're gonna fall.
I don't know.
You're gonna just like,
Not too work.
whoa!
Except in this case, the way I felt it, it was almost like I was going,
I just wanted to see what's your brain gonna be like when you're not going, okay, I'm gonna fall, I'm gonna just fall, and I'm gonna do this fall. It's like,
You want to end in the air.
yeah, I just like, you know,
Sensei, I'm sorry, I really
Go ahead.
recognize Sensei Peterson, you do me a great favor, like you've done for many times over the years to me. Could you throw this individual? The answer is yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't run anyway, right? You might be thrown a few times, Igor.
Ready for
What kind of photos have you done? How many people throw you before?
They like me, they don't. Over time? I'm just froze.
Get up ready, sir. Get up ready. There you go. Uh-oh.
I started something, I'm not gonna be able to finish.
Well, at least you've understood that.
You can tell me stop anytime you want to.
It's fun. Whenever you want to stop, Sensei.
May I ask something on that? Igor has to escape from one joint lock.
Yes.
Would you mind putting him in a joint lock and having him escape?
Homie, I'll tell you which one I practice.
That would be okay too. Which
So-
one do you practice?
So, if you do a kind of a gentle cross hand grab with a wrist like this way, alright, so I'm gonna try to get in this way, come back, and do something else. But the point is that I had to shoot towards, to bring my head here, so if you do this again, yeah, so here, bring back. And then of course you can defeat me, but, yes, that's it, here. I can also, so, yeah. Are we sparring?
No. You just showing he escapes, that's all you're doing. Have to work on that after Kemal Joel's off the way.
Yes.
Have to get warm.
And Sensei Peterson, please feel free to elaborate on what you're seeing and what you can do to help.
I'm struggling, you see me, I'm struggling?
Sensei has the answers. How about 10 more seconds, gentlemen?
All right,
Whenever you can.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Great reaction, both sides.
Good job, thank you.
Yes, sir. How's that? I'll fill some more.
You go back one?
Hmm?
You go back one? Good job.
Can you do a forward roll holding this? Not doing it?
Serious?
Oh, no.
We are moving to a different area here, so.
Karen, you put it back on.
You didn't give them the rules, so I guess. That's thinking outside the box. Outside the box.
Adapt.
Nicely done, sir.
Bob, I think, you're getting a little cool there. It asks for a basic stance pattern, moving and static, and one complex stance pattern.
Okay,
So why don't we just move to a complex stance pattern?
okay, great. What I'm going to demonstrate is a hammer fist, punch, inside block, kick, punch. Okay?
Can you describe what you're doing while that's going on, Bob? What is the
Yeah, I'm
stance
gonna,
pattern?
the stance pattern is forward stance, cat stance, side stance, back stance, and all.
Thank you, I was trying to figure out where you.
Oh, I was describing strikes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey! Hey!
Thank you.
So that's also the moving stance pattern. I can do that again,
Yes.
just without the, just to show what we practice in our class. We all start with a forward stance, move into a cat, side, back, ready, right back, side, cat, forward.
Can you go back into the cat, please? Nicholas? And lift your front foot up. And switch your feet. Lift your foot up.
Does your back allow you to hold it?
It does,
Just for the count of, I don't know, 50. Kidding.
yeah,
Just a little, I mean, can you hold it there?
I can hold it. Just a light touch, about 90% or more back here.
And could you hold it in a position that you would, before you deliver a kick?
A little better on this side. I would be right about here, and the kick it would be right here.
I'm just looking
Trying
at
to
your
show.
balance. Can you just hold it before you kick? Yeah. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
good job.
Alright, and one more, now how to that,
Size sense.
Size sense. So,
you do this as now how to that.
Yes, sir. We do.
It's not on the list here for your stances, but I'm interested in, your balance and your posture.
I should say.
Basically, standing on one leg, ready to kick in any position, whether you're gonna deliver a front kick or a side kick, or, can you hold that position? And then deliver a kick and come back and hold that position.
Right, so I can demonstrate a
Mhm.
specific stance,
Yeah.
right? So,
Mhm.
that Washirachi,
And deliver a kick and then come back to that. There you go. Good job, thank you. If you had to teach the stances, both of you, what would be the, give me three, principles that you would stress on your kamae, your stance? Go into a kamae and tell me three things that I'm a beginner. What do I need to understand about a particular stance?
oh, do you wanna go first? Or?
sure, I'll start with a forward stance. If I were describing it to somebody new at it, their action is heel toe is the first part, and as you drop, you center. If you were just to walk across the room, heel toe, drop, 70, 30, weight, center. Step. Notice I'm not dragging my feet, it's heel toe. Why?
Okay, stop right there. Can you turn around? And rather than step forward, show me stepping backwards into those stances. Good. Thank you.
Right.
Any time, tell me why you wouldn't keep in contact with it.
Balance, you're dragging. Let's see if I can demonstrate. I mean, I just feel off balance when I do that. Like I'm grabbing the floor with the toe. We're here. I'm center balanced. Center balance. That's how we,
That's generally how you will.
so,
Let me ask you about, is that how you instruct a beginner to make sure that they're stepping the ball and progressing in a way that's structurally sound, or is that's the only way to do it?
no, I would say as a beginner, that's, the way you learn to do it. So you are centered and coming down. I mean, in real life, it might be here. It might be a little bit of a drag. But here also, if I'm doing this on the heel toe, I can turn. toes down, I guess you could do it, but it seems a little bit odd, you're off balance. I feel like I'm sticking with the heel and here, and then
So we,
Please, no. Please.
so, would you say, in your understanding, that, there's little advantage to sliding your foot? What if I told you you had to do that and tell me why it's good?
forward. There's times, like in a cat stance, I'm gonna be on the forward.
Let's just go back to the moving forward and backwards. Understand? Find something good about sliding.
Right here, if I'm here and somebody's coming in, that might be
I'm talking about
the full.
the same walking up and down like you just did before, but
Okay.
you're not lifting your foot. You're not lifting your foot. Now go backwards.
Feels like I'm glued to the floor.
Wouldn't that be a good thing sometimes?
If somebody was tackling me and, yeah,
I mean, there's, I guess what I'm trying to get across is that there's advantages and disadvantages of both.
yeah.
And, from my own personal point of view, if I have a mat, especially if I have a canvas mat, which is what I have, I stay in contact with the mat. And it helps to build a sense of, stability, and, good posture, being well-centered.
Mhm.
Because then it's easy to come off of that. Because like, if I'm outside, I may not have the ability to slide, but I will have developed a sense of stability by training in that fashion. So that when I don't have that, I'll still have that ability if I cut my foot up off the ground. So I guess that's sort of what I'm looking for. There's advantages and disadvantages to both.
Good point.
And so, and what I was looking for as you came back, and I'm happy I didn't see that, is a sense of you falling on your weight, just falling backwards and falling backwards. I didn't see that. I saw a nice, even when you were lifting your feet up, a nice even progression of how you were moving. So that's why I asked you those things.
Thank you.
I would agree with Sensei in his points, and the reason you weren't falling is because you maintained a bend in your knee, and you maintained your horizon. So you weren't going up or down, you maintained your horizon and engaging your knees and modulating basically how much you need to extend as your feet come right underneath you. So, but I too don't teach my students to lift their feet off the ground because of the main ground. So from the perspective of even jiu-jitsu, for example, traditional jiu-jitsu, that's what they call suryashi. And even in Okinawa dance, the same thing, suryashi. That's where you slide your feet. You know, that's where you're engaged. So you know how much weight you can put on your foot or not. Right? Yours, in your case, lifting your foot off is on, off, on, off. You can't modulate the weight of your feet. Right? There's more going on to your sensory about how much weight shift you have your balance than we're even aware of to even speak of. Right? So that coordination gets off. It's completely off because you don't have any sense of the balance. See?
Yeah.
So that's why we always practice. I tell the kids in my class, I said, what if you can imagine walking on ice?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? You engage your legs, your pushy, and your step, and you remain in control of every single movement, every inch of your step.
It's like ice skating, even though I don't ice skate, by looking at it, it's that they're, in contact and they're pushing, and so I would suggest, just for your future study, do what you think is uncomfortable right now. Maybe you'll find some benefit in it, you know, it's just a different point of view. So, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
So, a different stance and advantages and disadvantages and how, the three things that you would tell somebody, if you were teaching them about that particular stance.
Since just like in a political debate, I'm gonna ask for 2 minutes to go back to the previous question, so I can answer.
Okay.
So I'd like to elaborate a little bit on, you know, what was talked about before. So the way I understand Sensei is teaching us is that, yes, we never want to be not in contact with the ground for obvious reasons, because as soon as you start doing flamboyant kicks and everything else, you know, that's why, you know, Okinawan art is ground. Shoryashidachi, you know, the searching flags almost, like they look the same thing as these things. They serve a purpose, because first of all, you're in contact, and you also can see and feel the extremities of your opponent. You know, you can do things without looking down. You can kind of, you know, position yourself and also, you know, create this distance that you need to do. The problem with the beginners is that we don't want to necessarily focus on this, because that's all we're gonna get, this kind of stuff, right? So when we talk about heel toe, we're really focusing on learning how to use our adductors muscles, right? So when we do Zenkutsudachi, right, it comes in through the center. We use these muscles to compress and move forward. So while I'm not in contact with the ground for a fraction of a second, I'm completely safe, and I'm still in contact as far as this movement is concerned. And whichever technique we do, you know, I'm not grounded because there's nothing that's dragging my feet and kind of preventing my movement forward. So that's for the beginners. And as we learn, we also understand down the road that the stances are just for training and to build physique and lower body strength. And after you reach a certain level, it's whatever stance that works for you in the kata, right? You know, if you feel, you know, if it's a defensive move, you want to be in the Neko Shidachi, move forward with this. But really, it's all starting from this kind of fighting stance, from this, right? So if we need to move back, it's a back stance. If it's forward, it's this. But the basic practice of using these muscles, but not accentuating this kind of, you know, that kind of stuff, when you're really just making these things. If I understand correctly what Sensei is teaching, you know, we want to do more of this stuff. And this is exaggerated, but these things are engaged, and we always have, it's just like a kick. You know, you don't kick from here. You kick by bringing this in the center and bringing it back. So it's the same movement, the same muscles are involved, and that's what kind of propels you forward with force. Because it's not just we're not hitting the empty air. There may be somebody there, and we have to come in and bump them or knee them, you know, and that's what sets you up with that kind of attack and approach.
Your shuffling is nice. It's very, very smooth, very clean.
You are grounded.
Yeah, you're very grounded. You know, you're not moving up and down, and I think it'd be safe to say that if you had to lift your feet and you couldn't just be, you're just a hair off of that. This, we're not talking about signing awareness, we're talking about just, but it would, I think it would be safe to say that if you couldn't do that, you would still be as grounded. It just looks that way. And so,
We're just trying to learn how to use lower body, starting with stances, understanding what each stance is and how to use it, then recognizing these stances in a kata, and understanding also that maybe the back stance is because you have to pull something in, and Neko Ashidachi is because you want to do maybe a kick to the knee, or maybe it's one of those things, or maybe you just want to retreat, you know. So all these stances have purpose, but you know, later on it just becomes part of your movement. It's movement. It stops becoming stances.
yes, exactly. It starts to become like your everyday movement.
I hope I said it correctly.
Is that better than me?
Now, And what you're saying, to kind of go on with what the sensei are talking about, the way you're stepping, does it have to change if you do Aikido, or if you Tai Chi, or if you do Kobudo? What's the difference? Is there a difference? Tell us.
There is no difference. You know, the body mechanics, especially the understanding of Kobudo as an extension of the MTR technique, you know, it shouldn't change the way you move. You know, it should become an extra tool and give you additional capabilities, but it shouldn't change the way you move. You should move the same way as you do, you know, using whatever the best technique is for the move. So whichever, I mean, obviously, Aikido, you know, there are throws and all the other things, but movement is movement. So what works in one martial art should work in the other.
Exactly. I agree with you.
I know about boxing, you know, because they more sports come up.
I think we're all talking footwork.
Yeah.
I think footwork, proper footwork, is one of the things that you know, being not familiar with the kata, I'm looking at your footwork. How does the footwork look like? Does your balance look right? Are you floated up here in your chest and your head, or are you grounded here in your center? And a lot you can tell by just looking at footwork. And yes, footwork from one art to another art, once it's like really weird and complicated, yeah, it's beneficial. Footwork is footwork.
Capoeira, different, they have handwork.
That's handwork.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, boss.
No, the abductor and the moves we're doing, also as the student advances, the abductor, the transitory, because all of these are just for a moment. As you advance, you're moving. I mean, you're in the cat stance for a second for a purpose. You might be flowing through for, because you're asking a kick. Side stance might be the hanchi coming into the side. You might be coming in for a slap, a grab, an elbow. Yeah, but you're down, and if you're up, you're not going to take the person. You're going to bounce off of it. So be it low, move, transfer.
This is what I would call a transition between states and states. It's transition. And it's where each of us vary based on our dynamics of movements, range of motion, strength, balance, flexibility, etc. But in my own opinion, it's what makes you as an individual make a particular kata beautiful for you in the way that you do it. But when we're counting, right, everyone ends up at the same spot. So it looks uniform, everything looks the same. But once you do a regular count, then other elements come in, it looks very different. And it comes a lot because of the transition. There's more transition in a kata than there is actual technique. But there's a lot involved. So that's what I would like to see for you, for this one specific example. As if you can go into a mobility okay, at the close to the end of move out to the front. Mobility okay with the right hand forward, like at the end of Pian Shodan. Okay.
No?
Pian Shodan, right. Mobility okay, and then so you just give this kick, right, this kick,
Mhm.
and here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you're gonna finish the kata, right? You're gonna go down, down. So I want to see this transition.
Okay. Is that okay if I just go back a few steps?
Oh, sure. Yeah, shuto, right, and go.
So,
You had it right.
yeah, so, here.
Forward.
Finish this way.
Yes. Well, what I was looking for is, as you're making a large transition, moving around. So in your case, in your kata, you're making a 3/4 turn. In that 3/4 turn, I wanted to see how you engaged your hip and your footwork and your balance. And this again comes to transition. That's a very complex movement. But you were talking about abductors, right? In your description of how you're moving. Right? So you're doing that more passive in that group. But yeah, I just wanted to see that.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess, it's the same move, if we look at the each, it's also, just, doing these things with a three-quarter turns, doing so many things.
Very similar. But just as the legs pass and you're doing this three-quarter turn, is what I wanted to see.
Okay.
Okay, right towards the end, since what on the sheet would you like to see or see again?
I'd like to see sparring, because I never really see that very often at all, so.
Very good.
I just wanted to see what you guys look like. In a free form kind of way, is that all right? guys?
That'd be great.
All right. So, sparring in our dojo is used primarily for all things we're talking about. This is posture, reaction time. We don't stop and do points. And, excuse me. Sometimes we have surprises.
You don't get a surprise. The surprise is that, yeah.
Okay.
Where's the knife? Hurry!
You have the knife yet?
I lost it, I don't know where it is.
Where's the knife? Okay. I think I feel it. Ouch! Okay. I definitely feel it. Okay, take the knife. Yeah. Now, two guys are coming out of the car. What are you gonna do? That's
So Igor, what's the benefit of sparring? What's the benefits of sparring? Breathing, yes, another, yeah.
Breathing's a good benefit to us.
How does it work in real life? How does the punching the empty space, how does it translate? And it's a completely different thing, because when you get an aggressive partner that throws things you don't expect, you'll be able to visualize this and see if the bunkai, do you think is the bunkai, actually fits in the more or less, day-to-day scenarios. As you can see, we're safe. there's no deadly techniques and everything else, so there are different levels of sparring, and it's a little harder than usual. But usually when we practice this, we do the kata sparring, which is, okay, we're working on chinto. How does it work? We'll try different things. Throw a technique from chinto. Can it go? Does it work? That kind of stuff. So that's where the solo practice really needs this oxygen, which is contact with another human being. And that's what sparring is to me. It's good when you take it to the next level. Instead of just throwing punches and kicks, knock your hands, see what you can do with grappling. Could you put a throw in there? Things like this. So we don't spar a lot, but when we do, this is the kind of thing that we try to do. So that's what sparring is.
You practice multi-man attack too, 2-3 on 1, 4 on 1?
No. No. We talk about this.
Yeah.
We should, and it's not to say that this kata is against 3 opponents from 3. We know that that's not the case, but it is a realistic situation, and I have not had a chance to kind of work on that. I'm still working with a single opponent, but yeah, so that's the truth.
It's been a number of years. We had other senseis join us. Sensei Sumner had us where we did multiple.
Oh, good.
And it was just one seminar, but what I distinctly remember is don't stand in front of all, 2, 3 of them, but to align, so you put somebody between you. So 1, 2, 3, they're coming at you, if you swing to the side, you can deal with one at a time. And then, go, but
Yeah.
keep.
Igor, you got in on some of that training in the seminar?
We did try this, again, this is just once in a while to throw things that we haven't done before. Sensei had me spar with 2 people, and that changed dynamic tremendously because you have to use really momentum. You do your technique, but at the same time, the other person is coming in, so you have to shove this person out of the way or incapacitate that person so you can focus on the other one, and it makes it so much more difficult. But it was a fun drill.
Good.
We should do more of them.
Awesome.
All right.
Ready? All right, Judge, is there anything else you want to see or see again?
I would like to see Chinto. You've made references to Chinto and.
I should keep my mouth shut.
Also, I'm curious about this, because of Chinto.
So,
Is it same as or not?
in yourself, also because there's also Keanu Chinto, which I don't know. Yeah. Chinto.
That's not Chinto.
I'm sorry, it's maybe the right Chinto, but the wrong performance.
If there's anything else you want to see or see again? Please.
Bob, would you like to do one shoot? We have
One
one
shoot.
shoot. I want to see how close that is.
One, two.
or Sanchin? You can leave your decaf on.
Yes, Sunshine. Forgive me for the number of repetitions. We don't do the kata regularly, so repetitions of the moves. I believe I remember the number, but if it's off,
Okay.
count from each new.
And you do it where the instructor comes in and hits you while you do the moves, right?
We usually do shimmy on Naihanchi, because
Oh.
Naihanchi is our,
Here.
yeah, but we can attempt this. We usually do shimmy on Naihanchi in our step, but we can do it. Yeah. Sanchin.
That was nice. Would you explain to the judges why in our Shunryu curriculum, even we have different branches of Shunryu in our dojo presented, why it's kata?
It's Sanchin is a unique kata, just like Naifanchi. One of the fathers of karate said that there's no karate without Naifanchi, and so the same could be said about Sanchin, because it's a fundamental kata of not just Goju-ryu, but a number of styles. And so practitioners of Goju-ryu consider this kata the fundamental training mechanism, and combines many different things. Body strength, rootedness, hidden technique, and also a lot of breathing. So we had an opportunity to have some Goju practitioners in our dojo over the years, and they've introduced Sanchin to our, if not curriculum, to at least expose us to the kata, explain the benefits, explain some of the hidden techniques. Also, St. Bernardi, having studied with different teachers, also had exposure to the kata. So while this is not a fundamental kata in our style, we practice it once in a while. We may be practicing it differently, not as much, not so much tension, but more of a yeshiru style with the kind of Chinese kind of open hand, which makes it for more dynamic move. We also practice hensho, which is for the same reasons. It's less tense and more of a chi style, but also is a great movement, kind of control breathing kata that we do. So again, we're not doing this all the time, and we don't shimmy Sanchin, but we perhaps, I actually don't know if shimmy of Naihanchi is the original practice, or maybe it's migrated from Sanchin shimmy. I don't know if that's, but it does allow us to check for the stances in Naihanchi, make sure we're stable. I don't know where the practice of shime on Sanchin, where does it come from, and when it originated. So I hope that answers.
No, you probably know as much as I do.
Since my last speech, I decided to keep my answers to.
As far as shime on other katas, Naihanchi is one, Seisan is another one that they do shime on. And it's just because of the inward stance, much like Seisan Dachi, where you're in those, for sort of a layman restaurants, it's sort of pigeon-toed.
Mhm.
Whereas Naihanchi, you're actually that way as well. At the bare minimum, big toes pointing in the same direction, like you're on railroad tracks, but your knees are stacked on top of your feet. Not unlike a horse dance. I say that's more of a horse dance.
Right, keep it that. So he was talking about this way.
No, put your toes straight, straight. Now, bend your knees slightly more. Now kick your knees out over your feet. That's Naihanchi. Traditional round. Okay. And then so they would, because you're in that posture, in that stance, they would take, you know, the ground your legs or your back, your stomach, or your arm, things like that. And the kata is oftentimes broken down to show the foundational structural nature of that. As presented by Motobu Sensei, which was very well known for his strength, right, and his ability to overcome, you know, big fights, you know, that were questionable, but he was able to still stand up against these challenges. And that was his kata. So that's the reason why they do shime on that kata as well. Yeah. Not always, you know, displayed in that fashion, as sanchin, because sanchin is more drum to it, right? So the breathing.
For sure. You mentioned Seizan.
Seisan, yeah.
We don't have this kata in our curriculum, but it did make an appearance in a way, kind of tangentially. One of the self-defense techniques is a Seizan break palm elbow, which you go this way, and there's a palm, and there's an elbow. But there's a break, so I had to look up Seizan because I didn't know what the kata is, and it reminds of, now I forget what it reminds me of, but the point is, I thought it was Shinto, but I don't know where kata Seizan comes from, but it came, the self-defense techniques came from Sensei Soen, one of Sensei's teachers. And so yeah, we don't have exposure to Seizan, except for that.
That's in, you know, Kempo.
Yes.
In, under Nagoya Sensei's.
No, but it's- Beautiful kata. Yes, I don't know why we lost it in my lineage. I never learned it in my Kobayashi days. Or I started with Sensei Silva, who had a background in Kobayashi as well as Kobayashi view. But it's a beautiful kata, and maybe one day you'll come and teach with Sensei.
Sure.
I'd love to have you.
Very happy to share.
Thank you. All right. Anything else?
Oh, good job.
Well, this is the part where I usually ask, gentlemen, if you had the opportunity, which I think you do, to either do something that you wanted to do or repeat something that you really screwed up so you have a good impression as you bow out, do you have anything that meets that criteria?
For me, it would be striking during a kata. Kudagata each, our basic kata, I was lax with my punches, thus the demonstration of striking our boss over here.
Would you,
So I
would you
like-
mind demonstrating that form, sir, with that intention?
I would, thank you.
Thank you.
Kudagata each. Aye! Aye! Aye!
kamae this way, when you come in here. So can you go to that movement? Say like either side, and go all the way through. Okay, so when you were doing this full speed, your first punch was just about the same speed as that. Your second punch, you had just placed it.
Mr.
I was wondering if you were just, if that was just intentional, or if that was as two punches, or not?
So sometimes you can say overanalyze this, and to me, working on the bunkai for rohai, for the one-legged stance, heron stance or crane stance, you know, to me it's a punch, but it could also be a reach. So maybe that's why it came out. But in the kata should be kata. So like Funakoshi said, kata do exactly combat is a different matter. So there should be two punches there.
Wonderful. All right, I think.
Funakoshi.
Oh, you have a question? Sensei, please.
Me? No, I have a question.
No? All right, then we will stand, we'll bow out, we'll make a few comments, presentations, and we'll get back in a few minutes. So first of all, when you say that, you both did really well. These tests are never easier than not supposed to be, but all the hard work comes beforehand, and that's what shows here. So when you do your test, you're diligent, if not more so than you were in this test. Really, really practice, really hard for this test, and it'll show even better when it becomes unpredictable and very strenuous and stressful. So you did well, and you're doing better as you go on. You'll learn from these lessons for that goal. All right. So let's bow out, and then we'll take a moment with the judges. And show me. Great. And to all our judges. Sensei, great. Thank you very much, Thank you very much, everyone. It's a small factor in what's involved is how we got here and how we continue going, how we bounce back, how we take what we learn and teach somebody else and learn twice. So all these things that these great teachers know, and we had a year of these folks in our room, we would get a taste of what all they know. It's just hundreds of years of literally speaking of these gentlemen alone, 50 years at least, I know, of training. So, and they're all the same, all their lives. So we're very blessed, fortunate, all of us to be here with them. So I'm glad that we're able to see it. You folks here also share that. My expectation primarily for this test was to make sure that Bob, as a Nidan, really understands and continues to master the fundamentals of what we do. Not know every kata, not know every single technique, but understand the fundamentals. Because Shodan is, okay, I'm a pretty good student. Now I can start to understand how I apply these things, and that's what Nidan for me is for you. And I saw some of that, I'm really seeing more, especially from the fundamentals of stance and balance and all the things we talk about in class all the time. I know what they are, and you heard also expressed by some of the judges too as well. And your level of Sandan, you are and should be expected to be able to teach and extrapolate and articulate what you understand, and ask the poignant questions about why, and keep asking everybody questions. Don't hesitate to ask questions, because that's the thing that limits all of us if we don't. And you have that ability, and you are at the point I think we need to be, if not maybe we should be higher rank in my mind, to some extent. But keep doing what you're doing, because you are the future, as all people in this room want to continue going, of this dojo family, and join people like this back into our dojo whenever they're able to come. It's a blessing for that. We got to keep that happening. So with that, I'll ask the judges if they have anything else they want to comment on related to the voice all today. Please do.
Well, I've had the good fortune to get to know both of you over the last several years, and you're just great people. It's a pleasure to train with you. I always learn from you. We have different systems, different techniques. Even the katas that we share in common are fairly different, so I always learn different nuances from them. So appreciate that. I appreciate the effort and enthusiasm you apply to the martial arts. I think you've made tremendous progress in the time that I've known you both, and encouraged to see what you're able to do in the future. Keep it up.
Thank you.
they both did quite well today. And as the points I expressed in the very beginning, every dojo is different, even dojos within team styles different. Sensei Bernardi knows of me from Okinawa Kempo as well as he knows me from Matsubai Shiryu. In Okinawa, that's where I met Sensei Bernardi. In Okinawa, I was teaching a seminar as part of the bigger event, and he happened to be amongst the group there. That's where I met him. Yes, from having different styles of training and traditional training from Okinawa, I eventually found that, well, what I'm doing and what I'm teaching is Okinawa Karate Do. I'm not teaching a style. Because the minute you start teaching style, you're limited to that style. It won't grow, you won't grow. And I love seeing the creativity as well as the resourcefulness you both have. And I think that comes from, what Sensei Bernardi's providing for you as information and a place to study. And I think that was the beauty and really what I saw in both of you. You have a good, solid core basics and essentials that you need to carry yourself forward. But I saw a great karate today, and proud to be part of this event, and I'm honored to be here as one of the judges.
Thank you so much.
Great job, both of you. I was very honored to be asked to be here with little knowledge of your kata. And I believe I saw what I came here to see from both of you. And if I had any comments, Bob, you have a good understanding of the kata as you move through the kata. I would say work a little bit more on putting a little life into it. As Sensei said, the mei ashite. I think your mei is a little maybe inside, rather than looking, and then you see where your target is. You focus on what that target is. But I liked your understanding of some of the takedowns you did and some of the other early demonstrations of the kata. So I thought that was really, really good. Work a little bit more on the hanbo, make it a little bit more part of your arm, part of your body as you move. Igor, you got good focus. I really like that. There was one thing that I noticed when you decided to do a kata that you weren't comfortable with. I think you did the Goju Shibo. Your eyes changed. your eyes changed to, I'm thinking about what the next movement is, instead of knowing what the next movement is. And that's okay. New katas, once it becomes part of you, then it's alive. But I just noticed that it's like, oh, his eyes changed a little bit. So, and I really liked your knowledge of karate history. I think that's an essential part of knowing your art. Knowing Budo in particular. Learn a little bit about your art, more about your art, a little bit about different arts. It's important. Someone comes up to me and says, "You know who Funkoshi is?" I go, "Of course. Karate master." I don't know details, but you know things. And I think that's important to, as you become more involved with the art, you have a bigger understanding. And I like what Sensei said about style. There is no style. Once you do say, well, we don't do it that way because that's not my style, that becomes your security blanket. Your style becomes, well, I don't need to learn that because it's not my style. It's just, I only do this style. You gather as much information, you're focusing on your particular brand of karate, but it's karate. And then if you bring in other influences in it, it just helps you to have a deeper understanding of what's going on. So keep going, and you are the future, absolutely. So good job, thank you.
Thanks.
You both did really well. You showed that you put a lot of effort in training beforehand. The test is not here. The test was before this. We'll be training in practicing, going through the movement, hardship of, oh, did I forget this, or did I forget that move, right? That's the test. This is just this is just a formality. This is you doing a demo of showing what you know, right, to your family and friends of your dojo, right? And then you should think of it that way. You should not think of it as a test. You think of it as a demo of showing my skill level, of my skill set. You know, I'm going to show what I know. I'm going to share with you what I know, what I learned from this sensei, this sensei, this sensei, right? You know, my background is primarily my instructors were very open in regards to they need lots of people, and so they encouraged their students to go out and seek other people to learn stuff, and that's how you learn, right? And as Sensei says, you know, you don't need like a little box, right? And that's all you do, right? To expand, to improve, you need to look outside other areas and see, because maybe somebody else has a better kata than you. Oh, I like that better. Gee, I like his kata better than my kata. So you start implementing that kata, right? And that's the way it should be. You should be trying to absorb from other people what's good in that system to incorporate in what you already do. You know, Igor, you're not gonna be the same as Pedro. Same thing about the as Pedro, but you're gonna make your own unique style of what Pedro is teaching you, which is good. That's a good thing, because that's how the art grows, right? If you do the same technique that Pedro does 50 years from now, you're not improving the art. You're doing the same thing, right? The way to improve it is to make changes to it, make it better, you know, so that you can show other people. You know, because there are people who do not learn well, so you have to adapt to showing other people what they do. So doing different things, adapting the technique, the kata, the onkai, it's important to you, right? You know, I've been around a lot of people who say, oh, you have to do it this way. Well, why do I have to do it this way? Because that's the way you're supposed to do it. We've been doing it for 50 years, do it this way. Well, I don't like doing that way. I want to do it this way, it's easier for me. Well, you can't do that way. That's really hard, and that really doesn't grow the art, you know, so that's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Stan.
All right. When I call your name, please come up. Robert Jenkins. It's my great pleasure, sir, to award you this long overdue and richly deserved. Like my first instructor told me, and I tell this a lot to my students, this is your new belt. Earn it every time you put it on. Congratulations, sir. Please make your rounds and thank you, ladies. And Ryubukan, front and center, sir. Again, my great pleasure. Thank you so much. You are, as others are in the dojo, one of those people that will keep this family going. I really mean that. So I know to keep that in your heart, it's in mine. And thank you so much for all you did to get to this point, and all you will do to get us to this point. Congratulations.
Thank you, Sensei.
You're welcome.
What about Bob Lazzarini?
Where's Bob Lazzarini?
Yes, really.
Bob
Yes,
Lazzarini,
yes.
yeah.
Does he get a?
He does not do it. His time will come soon. Well, Bob took all the beads, so yes, absolutely. That's a good obviously, there's a lot of people behind the scenes, and Bob does very much in there. So, you will all get, if you don't have already, a copy of Bob Jenkins' essay on other cultural influences on the Okinawa combative arts, and you can give your expression on that as well. All right, pretty nicely done, Bob. All right, thank you, Bob. Okay, that's all I got. Thank you, everybody. Come to my house.